This episode is sponsored by Jackery. It's shaping up to be a busy week. First of all, I'll be draining the Mudhole, which is located on the trail to the log cabin. It's become quite the obstacle over the years, especially during the winter. So I figured it was best to deal with it now, before the snow arrives. My second task is at the cabin, where I'll be wrapping up construction on the front porch. After that, I'll be heading to the lower clearing to break ground on a new build. More on that later. I decided to begin my day at the cabin to put the finishing touches on the porch. There's a passing rain shower moving through at the moment, so I'm waiting it out here on the front porch, which is a perfect time to wait the rain out now that I've completed the porch. So I'm able to enjoy the weather while still being out of it. I've got the overhang above my head keeping me dry. I'm up off the ground, so it's great. I know I'm going to spend many hours out here on this front porch just enjoying nature and being able to be out of the elements. So this is something I can now check off my list. As well, I've spent some time inside the cabin sharpening all my knives as I wait for the rain to pass, and I was using an electric knife sharpener. I can't remember the name of it, but I picked it up from Bass Pro several months ago, and I'm really enjoying it. I powered it using my Jackery Explorer 2000, and Jackery is the sponsor of today's episode, so I'd like to thank them for doing that, and as well for sending me this power station. This Explorer 2000, it is a small but mighty LFP battery. This is capable of running the entire cabin on its own. Now I do have a system that's tied into the cabin. I've got a solar array in the lower clearing. I've got a bank of AGM batteries beneath the cabin, and that's a dedicated system for this cabin. But it's great to have a backup system. So if that system ever gets knocked out, I can use the Jackery and it's capable of running everything on its own. As well as being powerful, it's also portable, which gives it the advantage. So it's not only used here at the cabin, but I've taken it on camping trips. I've used it at home for home emergencies, power outages, all those sorts of things. I've thrown it on the back of the tractor and taken it down the trail to run some power tools whenever I need to. So it's powerful, portable, versatile, all those great things. And I really appreciate Jackery products for that reason. In addition to being powerful, portable, and fast charging, it can run just about any device, thanks to its multiple ports. With its high output, the Explorer 2000 V2 has almost completely replaced my gas generator. And since Jackery power stations run clean and quiet, they can be used indoors, which is something I'd never be able to do with my gas generator. There are several ways that you can charge the power station, including with the Jackery Solar Saga panels. These monocrystalline panels are 100 watts apiece, portable, waterproof, and has a high solar conversion efficiency of 24.3%. Plus, they can be set up in under a minute. If you're interested in learning more about Jackery and getting a good deal on their products, you can check out the link and promo in the description below, or Google Jackery 2000 V2 to learn more about the product. With the front porch officially complete, my next job was to gather stone, which I'll use to install a French drain in the Mudhole. I dropped a couple coils of corrugated drain pipe at the Mudhole on my way through, before continuing on to gather several loads of fieldstone, which was located about 1 kilometer away. After delivering the fieldstone, I drove down to the lower clearing, where I began measuring and marking out the dimensions of the new build. Once I'd settled on where the footing should go, I traveled back to the Mudhole, where my friend had just arrived with his mini excavator to help out. After digging a couple trenches through the mud hole, we left it to drain. I'll return later to install the fabric, pipe, and stone. Meanwhile, down at the lower clearing, we began digging out the footings for the log cabin sauna, which I'm planning to build next summer. It occurred to me that I'd gotten so used to working by myself in the bush these past several years that I'd forgotten how nice it was to work alongside a friend. I'll fill the rest of the footings with fieldstone later, but with the digging complete, I returned to the mud hole to install the French drain. I began by lining the trench with 6-foot wide, non-woven landscape fabric, which has a felt-like texture. When it comes to drainage, it's important to use non-woven fabric, as it will allow the water to pass through much easier, as opposed to the more common woven fabric, which isn't meant for drainage and doesn't have a felt-like texture. Next, I laid 4-inch corrugated drain pipe in the bottom of the trench. The corrugated pipe has many holes along its length and will allow water to seep into it from anywhere in the trench, flowing down the pipe and out the end. Then I filled the trench with fieldstone I'd gathered earlier. Normally, gravel is used in French drains, but the fieldstone should do just fine. Once the trench was filled, I wrapped the landscape fabric over top, kind of like a giant burrito. The purpose of the fabric is to filter out sediment so that only water can pass into the trench. By now, the standing water had drained and the trenches were dry. What remained in the mud hole was slop, which will take longer to dry out. The good news is that it will dry out, especially with the addition of the French drain. Unfortunately, I used up all the stone to fill the trench, so I was unable to spread a final layer of stone over the fabric to protect it. I'd have to come up with an alternative. In the meantime, I constructed a platform from poplar boards, which my dad and I had milled several years ago. I set the platform over the trench as a sort of bridge to prevent my 5,000-pound tractor from crushing the pipe whenever it passes over. What good is a bridge if I can't cross it? Looks like I'll need to add some treads to the platform. To protect the exposed fabric, I gathered a load of cedar scabs back at the sawmill and laid them over the trench. There. It isn't gravel, but the board should work. The Mudhole still doesn't look all that pretty, but I figure it'll be all dried up by next summer. That's it for now. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, be well, and God bless.